Salve, Mika, and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Vergil's second Eclogue, lines 45 through 50. But first, last time in Vergil's Eclogue. And there we have it. Here is our rubric, everything we look for as we go through the text. Let's get started. Huc ades, o formose puer, tibi lilia plenis, ecce ferunt nymphae, calathis, tibi candida nais, palentes violas et summa papavera carpens, narcissum et florem jungit bene olentis anethi, tum cassia atque aliis in texens sua vibus herbis, molia luteola pingit vacenia caltha. And there we go. Huc is an adverb of place to which, so it just means hints or to here. Ades is our verb from ad sum, and green and yellow says these two words together are actually a combination of two other phrases, which are hic ades and huc adveni, I think. I don't know why they say that's the case. Maybe this is an unusual way of putting it. Maybe the huc, the adverbial demonstratives, are more accustomed to advenit, and just the normal demonstratives are what are normally used with the verb of being. I don't know. But ades, we've got our es right here from sum. This is going to be our second person singular present tense. It is the active, and it is our imperative, which looks unusual for a normal imperative, but remember, this is the abnormal form, sum form. So this means be here. The ad is somewhat redundant, or it would be in English, be to here, be to here, but we don't do that in English, and it's relatively normal in Latin to have a prefix on a verb, especially when you already have a prepositional phrase or you have an adverb showing location. So there we go with that. O formosa puer, we've seen this beforehand. Formosa with that E is our vocative, singular, masculine, also with puer, but puer doesn't decline into a different form from the nominative, since it's not a US ending. O is just another marker of our vocative, confirming that for us. And we already have seen this before. I believe we used handsome for it. Previously, it can also mean beautiful, well-formed. So I'm going to write that out. Moving on into our next clause, tibi, lilia, plenis, none of them are verb. Ecce, we have a exclamation, look, behold, and here we have our verb at last, unt as our ending from ferro, ferre, tuli. Tuli is the normal form that we would find, but since this is poetic and a little bit older Latin, then I think that we've got an unusual use. No, we don't, because we've got unt, erunt would be our perfect tense. Sorry, brain error there. This is just the present stem. I so rarely see the third person plural, but third plural. And then to find the subject of that, lilia could be that. It's the word that means lilies, as it is as it looks, and it's neuter. So with that A, could be nominative plural. Plenis doesn't look like the correct form. But here we have nymphae, or nymphae, with AE. Can't really be owning calathis as a genitive. And then why would we only have one nymph? And lilies carrying, well, lilies don't have arms, so that doesn't make any sense. So nymphae as our nominative makes the most sense. The nymphs are carrying, and then they're going to take the lilia as our object. And then plenus means full. With that is ending, it's plenus pleni. Well, plenus really. So then it needs to modify a dative or ablative plural, which we find here with kalathis. And kalathis is a borrowed word from Greek coming from, let's get nice, I'm going to actually put it down here. Kappa alpha, not alpha. Kalathos, and it's a sort of basket, but it's a woven basket. So that's what we have here with it's direct object. Tibi is dative singular. As our indirect object, we already have that as the exclamation. I don't have an abbreviation for that, so I'm just going to leave it blank. And then what we have going on here is Corydon is saying that the nymphs, behold Alexis, the nymphs are bringing to you, for my sake, lilies. And this ablative, I think, is going to be a place where in full baskets. Are they actually? You know the answer. Also, why would Alexis care about flowers? Maybe men back in the day cared more about flowers. Vergil Calamitous has decided to join us, but I'll write out the translation. Then we move on to our next clause. We have another tibi there, not going to bother parsing that. And then we have candida with an A. And this should immediately remind us of line 16, where Corydon used candidus to refer to Alexis. So Vergil is trying to connect these two thoughts there. Or at least the commentary was nice enough to remind me about that. So we have a ending, could be neuter plural, but we have nice right there, which, though you can't really tell from the ending, is actually a nominative singular feminine. And I could not determine what actually nice comes from. Maybe there is a nymph named Nice. I don't know if it'd even be pronounced nice. I don't know. So when I looked it up, Perseus online told me to check out Nautilus. And I checked around the lexicon and Nautilus. Didn't find anything quite right, except perhaps the Greek word naus or naus, which is just the word for boat. And nautilus is either a word for the little sea creature with the shell, or it's also a word for sailor, depending on context, I suppose. So we've got, I'm not going to remember how to spell nautilus, so I won't put that one in. But this one means ship, or it can be used to mean temple. So nice, being a nymph, would be from the streams. So boat makes sense for her. She's also a goddess, so temple makes sense for her. I don't know why the abbreviation if from Nautilus. If it's from naus, then is as an ending instead of whatever the feminine would be for the Greek. That'd be na-a, maybe. For naus, it would be naeia. If it is the type I'm thinking of, because in Greek you've got the us, ea, u adjectives, which is what this one looks like. But that, I don't know. It's a mystery to me. That's about as close as I can get. But candida, that means white or bright or shining. I think we may have gone for bright or shining previously with Alexis, but Corydon was complimenting the nice texture of his skin, which I don't have. Got to go outside. Very nice. Very sunburnt, though. So I think with nice, if I could remember, I'll look at 216. We've got it right here somewhere. So, checking back in. For 116, candidus, we used clear for the translucent, beautiful concept of skin that they have. So then we should also use clear again here for nice. Though shiny, since she's a goddess, would also work. Then these are each going to be explaining what nice is going to be doing for Corydon. Polentis, we have our entis. This is from poleo, and it is a descriptive verb. It means to look pale, apparently. Violas, we've got as right there for an accusative plural feminine. Polentis could be owning violas, but then what would polentis be modifying? Nice, as our subject, is going to want a singular and a nominative, so genitive doesn't work. And we've got this accusative right here, and if we look at the et is connecting violas with summa papawera being accusative plural neuter. And if we have this adjective modifying papawera, and this as one of those unusual is accusative plurals modifying violas, we have not a golden line, which will come later, but instead we have one of the lesser orders of poetic lines where you've got A, B, A, B. Oh no, that would be the golden line. Instead we've got sub A, capital A, sub A, capital A, no, okay, B and B. Blech. A and A, B and B, that might be the silver line. But it's when you have adjectives and nouns with each other in a specific order. The golden line is when you have them interspersed with a verb in the middle, which is, as I said, what we'll have later. So I think, just for the form of it, polentis should have the is as an accusative. And then carpens is our participial verb for nice. ENS, nominative, singular, feminine, present, active, participle. And then summa, just modifying that. This as a accusative plural, present active participle as well. And then a verb describing violas as pale makes a lot more sense. As for what it means by violas, the green and yellow thinks that, here I'll put a star, that this one specifically is something like the Mathiola in Cana. I would have had no idea what that is until the green and yellow told me. We are entering land I do not know. And then papawera, this one's a little bit easier. It's just poppies. And summa, highest, tall poppies. Plucking, picking, as one picks flowers. Moving on. Narcissum et florum jungit is our verb it as the third person singular, present tense, because this is jungo, jungere, jungsi with an X, and it's active, and it is indicative, and this means to join together, to connect, fasten. Narcissum, right there for an accusative. I think this is actually masculine. Accusative, singular, masculine. This is green and yellow thinks it's the Narcissus poeticus, which is something that blossoms in the spring. Florum, it's another accusative, singular. This one's masculine. And then we got bene, our adverb right here, going to be modifying either our verb or olentis, our participle, in T, is modifying anethi. Genitive. Anethi is the Latin word for dill, and they also have flowers apparently. And then olentis we've seen before. This is like the sweet smelling. It gives off a stink, but stink not in a bad way. We've got florum, needs to be owned by olentis as the closest object. Jungit, and of course bene cannot be owned. It cannot be owned by olentis anethi. So flower of that. Joined. Then we move on into a new clause with tum. After she has plucked these and she has joined them with Narcissus and the smelling dill flower, she then, finding her word, in texans ENS, nominative, singular, feminine. Yep, present. Just making sure that I put feminine with that one. Active, participle. And this is to weave together, to plait together. Cassia is going to be the direct object of that. And cassia is a feminine. Yes, it is feminine. And then with that A means we've got an ablative. And cassia is some sort of other flower. Green and yellow says it's a type of Daphne. I didn't even know Daphne was a type of flower, but there you go. In this case, specifically Daphne neorum. I'll have to write that down for you. Or it could be that it's cinnamon. I couldn't tell you. So we've got star, exclamation mark. Let's do squiggle S. So then that, as an ablative, can't be the object of intexans. So instead we've got some ablative function, but we've got an atque joining cassia with aliis, and therefore also with sua vibus, and then herbis with is as the subject of that. This is herba, herbae, so we've got a dative or ablative plural feminine. Atque joining with cassia tells us that it needs to be an ablative so that it will be the same function as cassia there. Other, herbs, and sua vibus means sweet or pleasant. So then we have weaving, then weaving with, so ablative instrument maybe, with Daphne or cinnamon and other sweet herbs. And then we're going to have our object down here in molia. With pinget as our verb, it for third, singular, present tense, active, and indicative. Pinget means to paint, to dye, to decorate, at least according to Cassels. And this will make sense when we take a look at our objects at long last. Molia is an adjective, so we'll have to come back to that, but note we've got the ia there. And then we got luteola is another adjective, and this is a color. And then wakinia is our first actual noun. And I think we saw this one previously, and we discovered that it was blueberry or whortleberry. I still don't know what a whortleberry actually is. But we have a neuter, accusative, plural, neuter. And then kaltha is another noun, and this one is another neuter, also accusative, plural. And this is a marigold of some sort. But we do know the specific sort. If we go back, we have luteola, which means yellowish, and then we have molia, which means soft, flexible, or mild. Whortleberries aren't yellow, so luteola doesn't work. If they were yellow, then there's something wrong with them, and then that wouldn't be a good gift for Nice or any nymph to bring Alexis on Corydon's behalf. So luteola must be modifying kaltha. Pull that over here. And then soft whortleberries is what we have here. And then this creates our golden line. We have lowercase a, lowercase b, c, uppercase a, uppercase b, a, b, c, a, b. The golden line in poetry. No actual monetary value, sadly. Moving on. So we've got, this is our main verb. Intexans is governing these ablatives of instrument. But intexan is acting upon these. And pinget, as I said, it means dye or paint. Well, kaltha, luteola kaltha, that flower, that marigold apparently was used to make yellow dye. And then I think we may have already talked about how whortleberries or possibly blueberries were also used to make blue dye. So then she is weaving with either Daphne or cinnamon and other sweet herbs the whortleberries and the marigolds that she's using to dye something for, presumably for Alexis, on behalf of Corydon. We'll try to put that into reasonable English. All right, and there we have that. Let's take a look at it in its own context. Hither be, O handsome boy. Look, to you lilies, in full baskets, nymphs bring. To you, clear nice, pale violas, and highest poppies, picking, narcissus and flower of smelling dill, she joins well. Then with daphne and other sweet herbs weaving, she dyes soft whortleberry, yellow marigold. We need more conjunctions. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you have a very good day. Well.